Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Before we do get into this story, there is a few warnings to put on this one of potential grooming, emotional manipulation, emotional abuse, physical abuse, domestic violence, and alcoholism. So if you do want to skip the story, as always, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Let's crack on with it. This one's from Throwaway for Me 86 and says, am I the asshole for not allowing my mother to bring her boyfriend I don't know or want to know to my wedding? I, 33 non-binary, am not close with my mother, 55 female, at all. She divorced my dad, 60, when I was 7, and almost immediately married my stepfather, Mark, whom despite everything, I was close with. They remained married until I was 16. I was upset when she divorced him and I went to live with my dad and stepmom. In my adult life, I've chosen to remain close to my stepdad and even attend his wedding to his current wife, who was a very nice woman. My dad and my stepmom are great people. Since her divorce to my stepdad, my mum has been in and out of relationships, each time claiming this guy is the love of her life until they do something she doesn't like and they aren't the love of her life anymore. Both divorces with my dad and my stepdad were for very petty reasons. Dad, I think, because he wouldn't allow her to get a new car because the budget was tight. I think the one that lasted the longest was 6 years. I think it's the current guy she's with, according to my sister. After I left home, she never did anything with me without her boyfriend. When I was 25, she broke up with her boyfriend and tried to cry to me about it. After working with my therapist, I set the boundary with my mother that if she wasn't willing to do anything with me without her boyfriend, to not bother, and I didn't want to talk about her love life. She was very hurt and we fell out for a while, but she came back around about a year later and has respected my rules since, but we only get together about 3 to 4 times per year. I understand that my mum's relationship and love life are important to her, so I respect that we don't get together often. Fast forward to this year. I'm getting married to my partner, 35 male, of a decade in October. It's a small, intimate backyard wedding and reception and barbecue. We live in a rural area and our backyard wedding will have roughly 40 people. My dad, stepmom, stepdad and his new wife have all been invited. My mum asked if she could bring her boyfriend. I said no because I don't know him. My mum asked if she could bring him to meet me so I could meet him before the wedding. I said no and that I still had no interest in meeting her boyfriends. She said she understood, but she felt it was unfair that I wasn't allowing her a +1 to my wedding when my dad and my stepdad were allowed to bring their spouses. I told her the difference was that I knew their spouses. She wanted to know why I was so adamant about refusing to get to know her boyfriend. I explained to her that I saw no need since she'd just break up with them and move on to someone else eventually, as she has always done before. She started to cry and told me I was being unreasonable and treating her as if she's a whore. Both my fiance and my sister feel like I should suck it up for one day and let her bring her boyfriend so she can be comfortable there. I'm seriously considering it, but I want to know if I'm the arsehole here for sticking to my boundary at my wedding and what your thoughts are. I gotta be honest, I think my head's already turning to the warnings that we got at the beginning of this story, and I feel like it's just going to escalate and there's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more background from OP regarding their mum and potential trauma from their past maybe. And I just got a feeling it's going to be way more than that initial question of inviting her boyfriend to the wedding. But everyone must love Kat says not the arsehole. The issue is not the +1 invitation or lack of it. The issue is her dragging you into a love life. I guarantee if you allow her to bring the current boyfriend, when she eventually breaks up with him, she will throw a fit about him being in the pictures. This is drama you just want to avoid. Even if you meet the new guy, he is not someone you know and have a relationship with. Gullible Classic says, so do I get it right that your mother has been with someone for 6+ years and hopes to bring her partner to your wedding? She was with your father for something around 8 years and with your stepfather for 9 years, then had a decade of exploring her options and seems to have settled on a guy. Yes, not an ideal life, but maybe the new guy is okay. Maybe even cool. I would not want some random dude at my wedding, but if it really is a long-time partner, it is a place to maybe give them a chance. Back7 says it's your wedding, invite who you want to. But stop pretending like a 6-year-long relationship is some one-night stand. She's been with this one nearly as long as you've been in your current relationship. You're mad that she left your dad and then your stepdad for petty, shitty reasons, uprooted your life and was a terrible role model for how an unhealthy and stable relationship should work, and you're punishing her for it. Probably deservedly so. But stop pretending you're doing this because she's with the flavor of the week. Aggressive Battle says, I get the impression you feel that in the past your mother did not care enough about you and too much about her relationships. That might be true. However, your mother's relationship habits seem completely normal to me. She was married twice and now has been in a relationship for 6 years, acting like you shouldn't bother to get to know her current partner because she will eventually leave him as well. Seems unfair to both of them. After 6 years, he is most likely an important part of her life. Wanting a relationship with your mother but insisting vehemently on excluding her partner does not seem sustainable. So even with a lot of sympathy for your position and your feelings, I reluctantly gravitate towards you're the arsehole and suggest you give her partner a chance. Robin Sparkle says you're the arsehole. She's been with him for 6 years, not 6 weeks or 6 months. You said in a few of your comments that it's not punishment, but it does come across that way. You seem to resent your mum for things she's done in the past, and that's okay. She hurt you and that's fair, but at least be honest in that your boundaries are based on behavior that's years in the past and not necessarily a reflection of who she is now. You know who she is now. You even want to. She's been with this guy for 6 years, and you can't meet him once because she had shorter-term boyfriends years ago. That seems a bit unreasonable to me. Corgi Huntress says, yeah, you kind of are. I mean, you're entitled to invite whoever you want. However, you've decided that your mother can never ever have another relationship because you don't think she broke up with your dad or stepdad for adequate reasons. And sure, you were hurt when she did and deeply affected. However, you really have no idea why they broke up, and you have no idea what a relationship with his current boyfriend is like, and you refuse to even meet him. So for the lack of invite, not the arsehole, but decided she's never again allowed to try and have a relationship with you and a significant other where you can be in the same room together, you're the arsehole. Resident Tess says, honestly, I think you need to distinguish the hurt you felt as a kid when she broke up with your two father figures from what would happen now if they broke up. You're an adult, not a kid. Her breakups are her business and don't impact you directly. Expecting someone to come to a wedding with her two exes there with their new wives is a lot. Expecting her to suck it up to put you first feels like you were trying to play out some drama and feelings you have left over from feeling hurt and abandoned as a kid by her breaking up your home. Divorce happens, it sucks for the kids, but so does an unhappy marriage. Feels like time to go back to therapy. The OP does add their first update, which says, after reading everything here, I've decided to email my mother and invite him. I was already leaning towards telling her that he can come when I posted. I decided to set some ground rules for my mother. 1, he is there as a +1 to my mother only. I made it clear to her that he is not my family and he is not my stepfather, so I'll appreciate her not telling other people at the wedding he is my stepfather. Mark is my stepfather and he will be there. 2, he is not to be in any family photos. In fairness, my stepdad Mark won't be in any family photos either, only my mum, dad, stepmom and my siblings. 3, he is not to approach me at any point during the wedding and reception. 4, this does not change my previous boundaries. I'm only allowing him to come for her own comfort and to create a sense of fairness. I respect the fact that she is in a relationship, but that her love life has nothing to do with me and I wish to keep it that way. 5, I told my mother that these are my terms for him being at my wedding and my terms are final, and that I hope she can respect the fact that I'm trying to be reasonable. I used this opportunity to remind her the reasons I put the boundary up in the first place. These reasons included forcing me to do activities with her shorter term boyfriends in the past, forcing me to only discuss her love life while showing no interest in my life, and putting her relationship above her own children. If she responds, I'll let everyone know. Update 2. My mum called me within 10 minutes of getting the email. She thanked me for allowing him to come and said they would abide by my terms. She said she felt really hurt that during her actions during her midlife crisis are why I'm refusing to meet her current boyfriend, who she says she's been with for 7.5 years. That she thought things would eventually calm down enough where I would be comfortable meeting him. She said she now realizes that it will never happen. I told her that I'm firm on my stance. I think she started to cry, but she said she understood and only wants him there because being around my dad and stepdad and their new wives, my dad has been married for 23 years and my stepdad for 12, makes her anxious, and he helps keep her calm. She said she respects my stance and said it's her own fault I feel this way. I felt this may be the start of a guilt trip, so I politely ended the call. OP adds an update on the update and says, "Updates. I will update here since mods told me I was maxed on my post. I want to thank everyone here for commenting and giving their opinions. Without context, I think it's a little hard to understand why I'm the way I am towards my mother. This past has given me a chance to reflect on my own behavior towards my mother. The truth of it is, I find dealing with her to be exhausting, and I want to explain to everyone why. 1. My mum is a gold digger. And that isn't my dad or stepdad talking shit about my mum. They're classy guys and would never do that. This is my own conclusion. My mum said regarding both divorces, I'd still be married if dad or stepdad just gave me what I wanted. She also tried to start fights with my stepmum because she realizes my brother and I prefer her over our actual mum. It's true, I'm closer with my stepmum. I go to her for all the mum things because she listens and cares. My stepmom doesn't make everything about her. I believe my mum suffers from main character syndrome and expects to be the center of attention at every event, and if she isn't, she gets drunk, which leads me to my next point. 2. My mum is an alcoholic. She was in a DUI 8 years ago and crashed into another car. Thank goodness no one was hurt. She doesn't drive anymore, lives in the city an hour away, and uses public transportation. But she still drinks a lot. At her height, she drank roughly 3 bottles of wine per day. I don't really know or care if it's more or less now. One of the other boundaries I set is I won't be around her if she's been drinking because that just stresses me out more. I'll be honest, I'm anticipating she's going to cause a drunken scene at my wedding. 3. She slept with my brother's best friend 8 years ago when they were 21. This was a boy who my brother had known since preschool, and this ruined the friendship. 8 years on, and my brother will never forgive her for it. My mum thinks my brother needs to get over himself and that she did nothing wrong. Technically speaking, she didn't do anything illegal and everyone was a consenting adult, but it still felt so wrong that she slept with someone my brother was so close with. That's why I don't really want my partner around her. She dates younger guys. His current boyfriend is 10 years younger than her, which is a little better. I don't judge her for dating younger guys, that's okay. It's not okay to sleep with someone you watched grow up. This whole post helped me see just how exhausted I am by her. I realize I don't want to deal with her BS anymore. I also agree that I have maybe at times shown it by being the arsehole and being unfair and unreasonable towards her. I just don't like myself when dealing with her. It puts me in a bad mood. However, the idea of her having more in my life makes me nauseous, but I want to keep the peace with larger family, grandparents, aunt, uncle, etc. I decided to take a page from my youngest brother's book and keep contact to just family functions. He's cordial to her at family events and keeps the peace when he's around her. He keeps his distance and won't see her outside of a family event. So I'm going to do the same. I realized she could get sober, go to therapy and change her life around, but I'm still going to see the woman who drinks all the time, sleeps with my brother's friend and just treats people like garbage. It's not fair to anyone, not me for having dealt with her, and not her if she ever did or was actively working hard to change her life. I do want to make sure she's taken care of, fine and healthy, but I also want to not be emotionally involved anymore. Figuring that out is above Reddit's pay grade. OP adds another bit of information and says, in my early 20s, she used to call me whenever she had a breakup and expected my sister and me to be emotionally supportive. She wouldn't spend time with me without her boyfriends around. She was insisting I meet some guy who's typically a lot younger than her, like late 20s or early 30s. Which good on her, but still weird for me. She was dating for a few weeks. They'd break up after a year and she'd immediately find someone new. Wash, rinse, repeat. This was the pattern from when I was 19 to 25. I always had to spend time with both of them. All she would talk about is her relationship. She would never ask me about school, my job, or my relationship. She's only met my partner twice. There's a lot more I can add about how my mum constantly prioritized her relationships over being a parent, but they aren't pertinent to this story. She got with a really toxic guy when I was 24 who stole a bunch of money from her. We all warned her he was a scumbag, but she didn't listen. After that, I told her I wanted nothing to do with her boyfriends going forward. She got really mad, saying I was disrespectful and that any child should want to see her mother happy. But I just got tired of dealing with her relationship drama, and I don't ever want to deal with it again. I'm sure the guy she's with is nice since he's been around this long, but I'm just done. OP posted another subreddit and says, I posted last week in Am I the Arsehole, and I got some personal messages telling me I should check out this forum, which is a strange adult child, and says, I've decided to estrange myself from my mother. We haven't gotten along since I was 16, and the last several years have been really bad. We only get together about 2 to 4 times per year, and it always ends with us fighting. I'm tired of it, I'll be honest. I've considered many times cutting contact with her, but the one thing that's preventing me from fully severing ties is her parents, my grandparents. I love them very much, and they are still hurting from my brother choosing to sever ties with her and keeping in low contact with that side of the family. My brother had valid reasons for doing this to her, and he will get together with my grandparents if my mother isn't there, but it's hard because they want to see him at holidays and during special moments. I'm getting married in October, and this will be the first event where my mum and brother are in the same area. I've told both of them to stay away from each other, but I'm anticipating there will be drama because my mum doesn't like to hear she can't do something. I want to make it so we can see each other and be cordial at family events, but not hang out otherwise. My youngest brother does something similar. I don't want to write her a letter because I fear that will cause more drama, but I expect she'll eventually call and want to do something with me. But I want to say no, unless it's at a larger family function. How should I do this? In another subreddit, OP adds a post that says, my mother thinks she's entitled to alcohol at my wedding. And this was around a month later after that other post. It says, my fiance, 35 male, and I, 33 non-binary, are getting married in 2 weeks in our backyard. We'll be having a catering spread for our reception afterwards. We decided to have a dry wedding for 2 reasons. My mum is an alcoholic who is known for making a scene when she gets drunk, and my fiance has a brother who binge drinks and has had alcohol poisoning on more than one occasion. He doesn't drink all the time, but if he starts, he can't stop until he either passes out or someone physically restrains him from getting more. I also have an uncle, my mum's brother, and a stepdad who are in recovery and don't need the temptation. Neither fiance and I are big drinkers, so we decided to just avoid any problems and just have a dry wedding. We will have a less dry reception, party/honeymoon with some of our friends later on. All of our families have been supportive. My uncle was especially grateful to us for doing this, since he takes his recovery very seriously and has been 7 years sober. I sent out wedding invitations 4 months ago and said it would be a dry wedding and asked people not to bring alcohol. Now today I get this call from my mum, who I also sent an invitation to 4 months ago. Mum said, is it true you're not having alcohol at your wedding? I said yes, fiance and I decided we didn't want alcohol during our special time. She says, that's so silly, it's going to make your wedding boring. I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but fiance and I have made our decision. We want everyone to feel comfortable at our wedding. Mum says, clearly you don't care about my comfort. What if I want to have a little drink to pass the time? I said, like you did at a different uncle's wedding, where you got so drunk and made a horrible scene calling uncle's wife a gold digger. But she said it wasn't my fault, they made the drinks too strong. And I said, right, I really wish you would address this need to have alcohol wherever you go. She says, I don't need to have alcohol. I think your wedding will just be boring without it. You want to have a fun wedding, don't you? I said it will be a fun wedding. We don't need alcohol to have fun. To which she replied, this is so stupid. Why should everyone else be punished just to make it comfortable for a few people? It seems like you care more about uncle and stepdad than everyone else. I said, or maybe I just want to avoid any scenes. To which she said, I just told you that wasn't my fault. And OP replied, just like your DUI isn't your fault. And she says, how dare you bring that up at a difficult time in my life? I was going through a lot emotionally. What the hell is wrong with you kids? You need to mind your own business. If I want to drink, that's my business. OP replied, well, my wedding is my business. We do not want alcohol there and that's final. I can't stop you if you decide to pre-game my wedding, but I've already made it clear to uncles and brothers that if you cause a scene, that you will be made to leave. She started crying and said, why do you kids hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve to be treated like this by my children? OP responds, are you really ready for me to go down that list? She said, none of you understand. None of you will ever understand. I'm the mother of the bride and I should be treated better than this. OP says, I think I've treated you pretty well during this process. I've acquiesced to your boyfriend, whom I don't even know, coming to my wedding. I've even given in to some of your other demands, so please tell me how you've been mistreated. She says, you didn't invite me to go dress shopping. The mother of the bride always goes dress shopping with her daughter. I barely know fiance because you've never bring him around me. How do I know that you're marrying the right person? OP says, that's because aunt made my dress. which Mum replies sarcastically, "Well, isn't that just special?" OP, sighing at this point, says, "As for the rest, I think you know why. We aren't really close enough for you to have any say in who my significant other is. Honestly, Mum, I'm done with this conversation. If you really feel that strongly about this, I'll understand if you don't want to attend my wedding." Mum replies, "Oh, I bet you'd like that, wouldn't you? One way or another, you will respect me as your mother." To which OP says, "Sure, Mum, I'm hanging up now. Bye." OP continues, "Guys, I'm so livid right now. I have a half a mind to uninvite her. I spoke to my dad and her brother. My uncle thinks her drinking is getting really bad again and has been wanting to hold an intervention. I told him I'm focused on the wedding right now, but that I definitely agree this was out of line and something needs to be done. What do? I don't want her ruining my wedding, but I'm so tired of dealing with this. Sorry, this is probably above Reddit's pay grade, but I just needed to vent. Update, I sent text reiterating the rules. She said she knows where she isn't welcome and said she won't attend. My dad told me not to worry about this anymore and that he'll see to it she doesn't ruin my wedding." Another update says, "I sent this text to my mum. Mother, at this point, I'm going to officially uninvite you from my wedding. I'm not going to allow you to change your mind, and I'd prefer it you not come to my wedding at all given your poor behavior. At this point, I've decided I don't want any further contact with you unless you decide to curb your toxic behaviors and drinking. I wish you the best. Hope you can find a way to heal, but I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry if this hurts you, but I can't handle you in my life anymore. If you try to force the issue, I'll be forced to take legal action up to and including contacting law enforcement. Please don't contact me again." I went to delete her from my Facebook page only to find a post that she'd just written saying how being a mother is a thankless job and how she doesn't understand how she raised a rude and judgmental kids. She ended it by saying she hopes her kids get over themselves someday. I'm done. This sucks, but it's been a long time coming. My head hurts. Someone suggests, having someone ready just in case she does turn up drunk and all this kind of thing. And OP says, "That's what I'm thinking. Her own brothers are saying they will eject her if she even causes a scene. My youngest uncle, whose wedding she ruined by causing a scene, made me vow that he will not allow that to happen at his wedding to happen at mine. My brothers, her own kids, despise her, so they said even if she breathes wrong, they will make sure she leaves." Someone suggests to OP the best thing to do is pack a suitcase with her stuff and drive her to a rehab place. She's trying to gaslight others into believing she doesn't have a problem and all this kind of thing. To which OP says she had to spend a year in rehab due to a DUI and the property damage she caused. It had no effect. I decided to cut her from my life. A day later, OP adds a small update saying, "Firstly, I want to thank everyone for the support. You have no idea how much your love and constructive comments mean to me. I'm glad I'm not alone." It's not a huge update, but I guess my grandparents and uncles have had enough. They decided to stage an intervention next weekend. If she refuses to get help, she will no longer be welcomed at family events, and she will no longer be part of the family. They told me not to worry about it. My sister will go, and she's the only one of her children that even has a real relationship with her. But even my sister said that if she doesn't get help, she will cut her off too. I'm hoping and praying this works, but given that she spent 1 year in rehab, and the second she was off probation, chose to drink again, doesn't give me a lot of hope. My dad told me he's hiring a local biker gang to act as security. We live in a small town and the nearest big city is about an hour away, so it'd be really expensive to have a security company come out. I don't have a problem with that. This is the type of gang that helps out abused kids and animals, and they do a lot of good where I live. The worst I've heard about them is they doled out some rural justice to a guy who's beating up the sister of one of the members and ran him out of town. When my mum got a DUI, she ran into someone's house and car. When she tried to back out, no one was hurt, thank goodness, and I guess it was the house of a relation of someone in the gang, so they agreed to help, and my dad is paying them to be security just in case. They know my family, one of my dad's cousins is a member, and they know my mum. I think she dated a guy in the gang at one point and what to look out for. Maybe moot if she ends up in rehab. I'm not stressing about her anymore. I have 13 days until my wedding. I'm going to focus on the final touches and just enjoy myself. My biological mum made her choices. Now that I stood up for myself, I feel nothing but relief. My stepmom will be there and I will see her more as my real mum, so it's all fine. I've been through a lot of therapy already, so I've had to make peace with how my actual mother is. Hope adds another small post and says, "Well, it happened yesterday. I got into a fight with my mother and officially estranged myself from her. It sucks, and I had a gnarly headache when I was done. Her drinking and behavior proved just too much, and I had to uninvite her from my wedding. How sad it came to this, but the most powerful feeling I have is relief. 6 days later, OP updates and says, I didn't think I'd be back so soon, but it's my mum's world and we all just live in it. My mum got 911 called on her for domestic violence on Tuesday. She apparently started throwing wine bottles at her boyfriend, who locked himself in the bathroom, and called the cops while she destroyed their place in one of her temper tantrums. She wasn't making any sense when the cops got there, so they restrained her and took her to a hospital. She's been stuck in psychiatric ward ever since. My sister was listed as a contact for her, and she got the call about my mum on Wednesday. The doctors at the hospital spoke to my sister, and they think she may be showing signs of alcohol-related dementia and some sort of psychotic disorder like bipolar disorder. They currently have her in alcohol detox, and from what my sister told, it's pretty bad. They won't allow her visitors until she's out of detox. Not that anyone really has a desire to visit her anymore. My sister and I decided enough was enough, and we petitioned a guardianship for her yesterday at the request of a social worker who interviewed my sister, my uncle, my grandparents, and myself. A guardianship means they can hold her while it winds through her system, rather than her being released after 72 hours. My grandmother's upset. She thinks all of the issues should be kept in the family, and the state shouldn't step in. My uncle and grandfather are on the side of having a guardianship. As far as they're concerned, she's not welcome in the family anymore, and they won't allow her to continue to take advantage of anyone in the family anymore. My sister and I say, let her be a professional's problem, and let them figure out what to do with her. My brothers don't care and have effectively washed their hands of her years ago, so their stance is whatever keeps her as far away as humanly possible. We can't deal with her anymore, and why should we? With the guardianship petitioned, I'm working on washing my hands of this situation entirely. I'm sure I'll be interviewed about why guardianship is necessary, but other than that, I don't plan to have any further contact with my mum unless she apologizes and makes amends for her behavior. If that's something she's even capable of anymore. I just don't see that happening, and any compassion or understanding I had for her in the past is gone. Whatever state her life is in, she brought it on herself. I just want to move on without her in it and be done with her for good. It doesn't look like she'll be released from the hospital anytime soon, so there's no risk of her attending my wedding. I did talk to her boyfriend yesterday after her sister and I filed paperwork, and we decided to invite him to lunch. He decided to break up with her for good, and we learned just how bad things were with her. He's a real nice guy who's been caught up in a bad situation and had no clue how bad she could be. I feel really bad for him. I did decide to invite him to my wedding, as I can tell he's a lonely dude who's been to hell and back. Not sure he'll show, but the offer is there. There was a time I'd have allowed an event like this to ruin the run up to the wedding, but I've been able to separate my mum's behaviour from the wedding. It hasn't put a dampener on it. Now that my mum is squared away, I can enjoy myself. I just put the final touches on the catering order, and I'm expecting the last of my supplies. My aunt wants to put the final touches on my wedding attire. If I haven't mentioned, both fiancé and I are huge steampunk fans, and we're wearing steampunk attire and encouraging everyone to dress in the steampunk. Not required though. My wedding dress is actually more of a suit situation, but it looks badass. I don't think I'll update again, as I want to put this all behind me, and I don't plan to have any contact with my mother going forward. I'm looking forward to a bright future with my husband. My mum can stay in the past, and as cold and heartless as it sounds, I'm glad she's not going to be my family's problem anymore. OP's final update comes in 9 days later, as a post-wedding update, and says, I just signed into this account again with a lot of people begging for updates. I don't have a lot. I guess my entire story is now in the best of Reddit. Thanks, I guess. Never knew dealing with my alcoholic mother was worthy of a best of post. I just wanted to rant and sanity check myself. Only news on my mother is she's out of detox and currently in a catatonic state, refusing to speak, eat, or drink water. They may install a feeding tube if she doesn't let up. I think she's trying to be more dramatic and get attention. So do my uncles. I could be wrong, but honestly I don't care anymore. Not sure she has dementia, but she definitely has something going on, but doing any kind of evaluation while she acts like this is difficult. She also has liver disease, needs dialysis, and possibly even a transplant, if she qualifies. The doctors made it very clear if she doesn't quit drinking, she will die within the next 5 years, and it may even still be too late. I think I'd feel more sad, but I come to realise that I lost my mother long ago. I did invite my mum's boyfriend, but he chose not to come. He decided to get help for his own alcohol issues, according to my sister. I wish him the best. As for the wedding, I'm now happily married, and on Wednesday, I took a pregnancy test that came back positive. We're super excited, but I haven't told anyone in our family yet. The wedding was fantastic and the day went off without a hitch. We had a blast and are heading out on our honeymoon on Wednesday to Costa Rica. My brothers and stepbrothers are very sweetly hazed my husband during the at-home bachelor party and made it clear they're excited to have another brother. My stepmom did all of the mum stuff during the wedding. That was already planned before all of this. No one snuck in alcohol, there weren't any scenes. The worst that happened was my sister crying due to all the stress she's been under. I do have some sympathy, but most of it is self-inflicted though, because she enables. But all in all, it was a great day and I was surrounded by those I love most. I know a lot of people ask for pics of my wedding suit. I'll see if there's some way I can crop identifying stuff from it and post it here once I get my wedding pictures back. Otherwise, I'll figure out a way to post the outfits themselves. That's all I have. I'll try and update after my honeymoon. Now it seems like baby is coming, so no promises. And OP just sounded like going through this, absolutely exhausted with the situation that was going on, like since they were 16 and before, dealing with this constantly. God, it must be just draining, right? So I was super glad to read that they was able to separate their sort of special day from the drama that was going on at the same time, because it could have very much put a cloud over the whole thing, couldn't it? We've seen it time and time again. A lot of the comments on this one meant talking about the mum and the possibilities going on there with the alcohol related dementia and various things like that. There's quite a few stories of people, relating to this one and talking about choosing when the right time to walk away is, even though it's incredibly sad. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Absolutely wild one there. And I really do wish OP all the best with the pregnancy and everything going forward. It's whilst OP has walked away, I can't imagine it's going to be the last they're going to hear about it. So I can only wish you all the best going forward. But now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.